What is up, everyone? The 25th Genius is back with another webtoon review. So, this webtoon actually is very old and it's actually one of the classics of the webtoon universe. Actually, it's one of the Korean mangas that actually piloted a lot of what you see today. Like, I kind of feel that the old webtoons, The Gamer, Noblesse, Tower of God, even, are like the godfathers of the webtoons. Paved the way for other webtoons of all different types of cultures, races, diversities, ethnicities, and customs to come together into one platform, which actually is very amazing that such a simple thing as a bunch of animated cutouts can actually do so much for the benefit of the world. So, as much as I've talked about this webtoon series, I've never really given you a proper review or a proper analysis about this webtoon. So, we're going to do it today. So today, before I start, if you like this channel and like what I do, or if you just like webtoons, I don't care what the reason is. If you just out of pity, leave a like and a subscribe. And also there's a Discord if you want to help build a community of webtoon people. I'm going to try. So with that being said, let's get into a review. So today we're going to be talking about the top, and I may say that a lot too because they sound very similar to me. So we're going to be talking about the God of High School. So what is it about for all those who don't know? The God of High School focuses around a 17-year-old male by the name of Jin Mori. So Jin Mori has always been very pugnacious, and he developed slower than a lot of other people around him. He loves a fight, and he loves it very much with a passion. He's never lost a fight. He's only gotten 2 draws, and he literally has won every other fight that he's been in. His record is so amazing that he was offered to join the God of High School tournament in which to compete for riches and for whatever that you want. He declines until he is beaten soundly by one of the representatives of the tournament, and thus the whole story begins. Now, I will say one of the things about the God of High School, before I really get into all the really good stuff, is that the plot can sometimes be very, very inconsistent. It's not like it's so many things to where the story changes. Sometimes it's a lot going on that it's really hard to follow. Like you may have to read it like 5 or 6 times before you fully understand what's going on. Even the author himself had to write like an analysis or like a letter saying like I just completely just didn't know where I was going with this series, so we just did it this way, and he basically reset it and started anew with his new season. Tower of God of High School really gets a little interesting when Chohyo comes into play, and that's basically, look, it's Nin and Hunter x Hunter, Chakra and Naruto, spiritual power in Bleach. Well, every shonen has to have this type of ability that they all share. It's just how normal shonen works. So the first season is basically just a bunch of fights and a little bit of supernatural power from here and there, and then it gradually goes on to special abilities and special powers and borrowed powers from the gods above. So that is actually really, really cool and interesting. The one thing about God of High School that's really good is the action. The action is very good, and in its time, it was probably one of the best action webtoons, if not the best, than we've got. So we've gotten webtoons like Girls of the Wild, but the thing with Girls of the Wild was that it was action in one half, and then it just became this big love story, which I didn't mind because, of course, it shouldn't have been all about fighting, but I really would have loved it if the author would have really, really thoroughly fleshed out the tournament a little bit longer, rather than probably just 1/3 of the series was a tournament and everything else was just basically a Philly love story, which just proceeded into more answers than we really got questions. But so in this time, Tower of God of High School was basically the top action webtoon that you could find. If you needed a lot of action, you need a lot of cool characters, this was the webtoon to go to earlier. Now, it probably is a little bit outclassed with other webtoons who basically do their plot better, and that's really will be the defining factor, is how well you can grasp your story. I feel that God of High School just loses outright. But if you're looking for a really funny a really like just good action-based story, then God of High School would probably be for you. Um, it's something interesting about the characters, and the characters are really hard to really understand and get used to at first, but they slowly do grow on you from time to time. One of my favorite characters is Don Juan Wee, which is a master of Kyoshin karate, but he loses to Jimori very, very instantly. But the one thing that's about him is it's kind of like with all the other characters, in which like they all have a motive to join this tournament, and they all have a motive to do the things that they do. Jimori wants to help his grandfather, where he wants to find him. Honda Wee, which actually is probably the better reason, is that he wants to help his friend who actually died. And I forgot Yumiurai's. I'm just gonna be real with you. I don't keep nothing hidden. But Yumiurai, they all have a purpose into joining this tournament, and these three together will become intertwined in a destiny in which they will basically change their lives forever. Another reason why it's good to read A God of High School, in my opinion, is because you have your first ever filler character in the webtoon universe, and I can make a whole video about why he's such a filler character, but his name is Juk Tailgal. And again, he's the Hao-Quinn of Tower of God of High School. And in the sense that he's not strong, he's just made to be strong until he was outclassed. And it really just kind of shows you, if you're looking for something that will give you a map or a blueprint of how other webtoons really kind of work and function, then definitely God of High School is the way for you. Tons of action, tons of good characters, tons of character development, and that's really much the last thing I want to say, is that it is not the same webtoon that I read when I was in high school. It is definitely a different and more evolved webtoon with a lot of things that it has to offer. But I think that's good personally because it's realistic. It shows like how people just can change drastically. It just shows you how webtoon characters and just manga characters in general can change over the course of the years. So the characters, the plot, the action is nowhere near how it was in the very beginning of the webtoon. And that's really good because the author is being very natural with the growing development process of the characters that they have created. So I think that's just really good on the part. Tower of God does it very well, and so does God of High School. So if you're looking for that type of character development that happens over the years, if you're looking for action, if you're just really looking for a classic shonen which you don't have to think, I really think that God of High School would definitely be a good pick. The plot is a little scattered, and I will say that I do love God of High School a lot, but the plot is a little erratic for my taste. But regardless of all that, I really think that you would have a very good time reading it, and it's a wonderful journey to read and to see the process of Jimori as he develops from a high schooler into an actual adult. I think it's absolutely amazing. So definitely do check it out. And that is my review of God of High School. I hope this review was very helpful to you. I hope that you read to God of High School. With that being said, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.